This is Dan Dix here, reporting for Press for Truth. We're here in downtown Vancouver right now, and I am joined by the one and only Walter Block. He is here speaking in Vancouver. He has a speaking event, and in fact, we're going to be speaking together just next month at an event called the Sons of Anarchy on November 19th in Vancouver. I'll put links to that in the description below. But I wanted to get your thoughts today about something that is kind of controversial right now, but you wrote a book called Defending the Undefendable, and in response to this Las Vegas shooting, there's been a lot of people discussing this gun debate issue, and it's almost hard to defend pro-gun advocates following an attack like that. So what sort of advice might you have for people who want to talk about the Second Amendment and the importance of being able to own a gun following events like that?
Well, the reason for the Second Amendment had very little to do in the late 18th century, had very little to do with criminals, private criminals. It had to do with tyranny, with the government. The colonists, the 13 colonists, were afraid that King George types would arise in the United States. And what they wanted was to defend against the government. Mm-hmm. Now, how many people were killed out in Las Vegas? About 60, and maybe 500 were injured. Mm-hmm. Compare that with how many people the government kills. Mm-hmm. The government kills many, many, many more people. The drug law alone, mm-hmm. Drug prohibition kills, I don't know, tens of thousands of people. Mm-hmm. I wrote another book, Privatizing Roads, where about 35,000 people a year die on the roads. Mm-hmm. So the government is a mass murderer. One of my favorite examples, I'm Jewish, and Hitler had a very, very strong gun control. Mm-hmm. And as a result, no Jews had any guns. Now suppose every Jew had a gun. Might Hitler have reasoned as follows: look, Jews are vermin. Okay, we stipulate, they're vermin. We've got to get rid of them, fine. I'm kidding. I'm trying to channel my man Hitler here. And we have two ways of getting the Jews. One, we just kick them out and tell them to leave, otherwise we'll kill them all. Mm-hmm. And we'll let them go free because they all have a gun. And if I had to kill them, they'd shoot back and I'd lose, I don't know, a division or half an army or something. And maybe he would have let them go. Mm. But no, they didn't have any guns. So they were helpless. Well, do we want to be helpless against look, a lot of people hate Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. You lefties out there, you hate Donald Trump. Don't you want to have a gun mm-hmm. in case Donald Trump goes berserk? Mm-hmm. Which I doubt. I favor Donald over Hillary, and I'm not attacking Donald. Yeah. Donald is actually pretty good on gun control. Mm-hmm. He's not as good on other things as I'd like him to be, but he's not bad on this. Mm-hmm. So I think the main enemy is not private criminals. How many people do private criminals kill? The Blood, the Crips, the Mafia, dozens, hundreds of people a year? Tops. Mm-hmm. The government is a mass murderer. And I'm talking about the U.S. government too, not only other governments, but the U.S. government. It's got troops all over the world shooting people. Mm-hmm. And I gave you cases of the drug law, and then the FDA doesn't allow it if you're on your last legs. They don't allow you to try an mm-hmm. experimental drug. They're starting now. They have these rules about the last chance or something like that. Mm-hmm. But hundreds of people have been killed every year by government. Yeah. Government is the enemy.
Well, if government's the enemy and it's all about protecting ourselves from that enemy, should people be able to match fire with fire?
Absolutely, sure. I mean, some people say, well, okay, let everyone have a musket. Because in 1789, all we had was muskets, but the government only had muskets. What we need is equivalence with the government. Now, unfortunately, private people don't have jet planes or the drones or things like that. They should, mm-hmm. because the government is potentially the monopoly of, not potentially, but actually the legal monopoly of force. Mm-hmm. And power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Somebody once said that. Mm-hmm. I didn't create that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good argument in favor of the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm.
And what would you say are some of the solutions moving forward? Like, should we be privatizing all of the police forces here and just opening guns up to being a truly free market? Or?
Well, yeah, I think that if we had...
yeah, you can just... Sorry. You can just continue, don't worry about that.
Oh, okay. I favor privatization of everything. My motto is if it moves, privatize it. If it doesn't move, privatize it. And since everything either moves or doesn't move, privatize everything. Right now, there are more private cops in the U.S. than there are government cops. And the government cops are doing some good things. They stop murderers and rapes, fine. But they also do bad things. They put victimless criminals in jail for sex crimes between consenting adults or drug crimes or things like that. Whereas the private cops, people who watch out for the malls and the shopping centers and things like that, they don't arrest you for doing victimless crimes. They arrest you for, disturbing the peace or stealing or something like that. So yeah, I think private cops and private courts are much better than the government variety.
Yeah, well, it seems to be the case. It's just when you follow their track record, when we privatize these things, it seems to be working out better, not only for, for everybody, for the people, for all these situations.
Well, not everybody, because the government doesn't like it, the bureaucrats don't like it,
right.
The civil servants don't like it, but for most people, for innocent people, it's a good thing to have privatization.
All the more reason why we should be involved if the government doesn't like it. So once again, thank you so much for talking to us. Check the links in below. Myself and Walter will be speaking at the Sons of Anarchy next month. I believe it's November 19th. So we'll see you there. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.